forth, really talk some things through. You can plan for the same time frame on Thursday. And the third thing is that if you want to catch the replays of anything you've missed, or you want to be able to share these with folks that are in your life, feel free to go to sustainableparenting.com/workshop. All right, now let's dive in. This is really time to get into the meat. If you were with me yesterday, you know the things that you're going to start letting go of, the mistakes of parenting from the neck down or from the neck up, of pinballing in your parenting instead of being predictable, or asking the wrong questions. And so if you're here tonight, you're ready to let go of those, you realize, yeah, I don't have time to waste on that anymore. So I want to give you strategies tonight and a recipe that I really find helps encourage cooperation in so many circumstances. So to move forward, I need you to do two things for me. I need you to make two agreements. The first one on your handout for tonight is that we do not negotiate with terrorists. Okay, friends, seriously, I see this all the time. I have been there in that moment with Caleb that I talked about last night, that we can get into negotiating with terrorists. Like one mom emailed me today. She said, it's like, I want to change my fallback plan. I end up in this cycle where I'm just threatening to take things away because it's the only means I can feel to get their cooperation. And then I feel bad and I get into this monster mom mode that I don't want to be in. I don't want that to be my backup plan, the only thing I can grab at when emotion coaching isn't working. And I've heard that story time and again. So I know that that mom is not alone. And that's what tonight is entirely about. We do not negotiate with terrorists because we all get flooded by that intense moment, and we are not doing our thinking and deciding in the most effective time. We're just not. I mean, let's think about our brains when our children are like, yelling at us or being really super resistant or even shutting down, and that's embarrassing us, whether it's in front of other people or even just happening in our home. If they are digging in their heels or they're having a giant emotion, what happens to us? We get flooded. Our amygdala is activated, and the frontal lobe that makes our best decisions is just not in the picture. Our body is designed to send the blood flow to our muscles and to send the blood flow to our heart. So we get agitated, and of course we end up panicking, and we just reach for either, okay, I'm going to take this stuff away, or we might give in. And so I want to give you a tool tonight to use your thinking and deciding in the most effective way. That's what's going to give you more calm and more confidence. That's parenting smarter, not harder. You only have so many hours in the day, right? So let's use them in the most effective way. Let's realize I could either approach this day hoping for it to go well, but then having these things come up, and then I'm panicking in that moment, trying to grab at what to do to make it get better. And my brain is flooded. I'm not thinking straight, and then just repeat the next day and repeat the next day. Or we could get into parenting smarter. And I'm going to tell you today how to use your time more wisely. Is this relating for anyone? Are you like, yes, I have been there. I see people saying hello. Kira saying, I made it, woohoo. Yes, it takes a lot to get here. Can you relate? Yes, I see parents saying, oh, yes, that's what happens. So we are going to use our time more effectively. So the first agreement is we're not going to negotiate with terrorists. We're not going to get into a conversation where our brain's not going to do its best deciding. We're not going to negotiate with terrorists. Yes. Second agreement, and if you're with me, say yes. Say yes, yes, yes. I'm ready to agree to that. I'm ready to stop doing that neck up parenting and just getting into lecturing or trying to talk them through when it's like a terrorist moment and I'm flooded and I'm not doing my best parenting. I'm not able to do my best parenting. The second agreement I need from you, if you're really ready to move forward, is that we are going to give power to the terrorists in the right time, in the right way. What am I talking about? Well, because we know that our children want a sense of power and control, and they're either going to get it with negative strategies and sucking us into power struggles, or we can use each one of those moments to start teaching them the big picture things that we really want, and that when they have that they can have power in more productive ways. They can get what they want in more pro-social ways, in ways that work for us and work for them. That's what we want. So we want to give the terrorists that, of course, we love, the power in the right time and in the right way. So in your handout, it says the signature recipe involves 3 key pieces. And you may just need 2 of these pieces for the situation that's been most frustrating to you. You may need all 3 of them. The first one is, and these are all pieces that I used in that moment with Caleb yesterday that I told you about. And these all tie into asking the right questions. And we'll get to the questions in just a moment. So the first strategy is that let's, instead, to give power in the right way, in the right time, make an agreement in advance. In advance, not in the heat of the moment, just grabbing, you're going to lose this thing, you're going to lose that thing, I'm taking away your birthday party, we're not playing all day tomorrow. We can end up throwing these giant things out because we're so triggered, and then we end up probably going back on it. And then that teaches them that we don't really mean what we say, and we don't say what we mean. So when we make an agreement in advance, it looks something like this. Like with technology, I have a lot of parents say that's one of the trigger places. And if that is for you, can drop an emoji. That is really frustrating, that like anytime I'm trying to get them to turn off the TV, give me my phone back, turn off the iPad, it is a battle, and it's so annoying, and we face it daily. Well, I often ask those parents, well, what's your agreement about technology? I don't know, that I give it to them when I need a moment or when it works for me, and then they're supposed to turn it off when I ask them to. Well, without an agreement in advance, think about how motivated are they to want to cooperate with that? How much are we setting them up for emotional upset? Like if your boss was just like, I think today I feel like giving you $500, and the next day, I think I feel like giving you $5,000. Would that maybe set you up for some upset on the days of the $500? Mm-hmm. And isn't that exactly what we are doing in those moments without an agreement in advance? So what can that look like in the realm of technology? It's like, make a plan tonight, tomorrow, whenever you're watching this video, to say, yeah, let's make an agreement in advance. Guys, here's the new plan. We're going to get to watch one show in the afternoon, and there might be one other time in the day that you get to do an iPad thing. Or we are only going to do iPads if we're in X situation. We're not going to just pull them out anytime we have an idle moment. Make an agreement about what it is, and we're going to be more likely to get their buy-in to, when we're in that moment, understand what the parameters were. Like one mom I was doing parent coaching with today shared with me, she was saying, you know, when I do this at farther in advance, especially for my 9-year-old, it makes all the difference in the world. Like the sooner we have said, this is going to be our plan for piano practice, this is going to be our plan with technology, this is what needs to be cleaned up in your room before you're able to do that, like then there's less of a battle. So the first key step is to make an agreement in advance. Some of you watching this right now may be rolling your eyes, being like, you don't understand. I have enough on my plate. I'm just trying to get through the flippin' day, Flora. Like, don't ask me to like have these agreement conversations outside. I just can't add anything else. If that's you, I want to say the reality is we all have the same 24 hours each day. And you can choose to spend it continuing in those old negative cycles that just keep you doing the same thing. Like the definition of insanity is like doing the same thing and expecting different results. And so I'm not asking you to just add something new and hard on top of what's already hard. What I'm offering you is an opportunity to switch where you spend your energy. Parenting smarter, not harder, is when parents do this work, they start noticing when I put the energy in and I front load it, I start to have more ease. I have my kids just turning the iPad off. I have my kids just going to bed. I have my kids going out the door without a yelling match. That was totally worth the effort to front load and have that conversation. So just want to pause you in your possible return to old negative thinking that's like, no, I don't have time for this, to say you do have the time. You can choose to keep using the time suffering in circles, or you can choose to start using the time with new action and get new results. That's what I want for you. Really, really want for you. So the second tool that I find really key with this, with making agreements in advance, is tying a when then to it. So sometimes parents will say, well, I made the agreement, but then I'll be like, hey, we made this agreement. You agreed that you were going to turn it off. You said you were going to clean up your toys. Come on. You said you were going to get your clothes on and you still don't have them on. And it's this like nagging, and you feel like you're the one that's constantly having to keep them on track with that agreement you made in advance. Is that what's going on? Is that part of it? And if so, then we need the when then. We're missing the when then. So that's a part of ownership. I told you in my signature CEO model, I'm always asking people to start with connection, then move into the key strategies of encouraging cooperation. And let me back up for a sec. There are many different styles of connection. It's not just eye contact. It's not just looking at them in the eyes. There are many key ways we do connection. And then we do encouraging cooperation, and then ownership. We have to involve ownership. So this idea of making agreements in advance is a key part that's a bit of encouraging cooperation and connection. The when then is the ownership. Okay, so here's our deal about technology. We are going to have it in X, Y, and Z situations. That's our deal. We're both going to agree on that. And when you stick to that agreement and you turn it off quick and snappy without a fight, then you get technology in that same way tomorrow. When you don't, then we're not going to have it tomorrow. And we'll try again the day after. It's a completely different stance to set up a parameter. I call it two roads. Like, here's the happy choice and the happy result, or here's the sad choice and the sad result. I'm not going to just nag, wishing you will choose the happy road and then throw out a sad road. That doesn't help you be more encouraged to cooperate. I'm going to make an agreement in advance on what the parameters are, and I'm going to give you the two roads clearly ahead of time. And then in the moment, I'm more likely to be able to follow through. This is what one mama, Lisa, told me. She's like, I got that ease that you're talking about, Flora. I have that confidence. I can stay more calm and consistent because I did my thinking in the right time. Like, I made that agreement. I made that plan of the when then my brain was working well, and not when I was flooded and flustered. Would you rate the word when then if this is really clicking for you? Like, oh, that's a piece I've been missing. I've been maybe agreeing on it, setting the rules, but then I'm owning it and I haven't had a way to follow through. Yep. Awesome. Glad that's connecting for folks. So the third piece, and you may tie this in, or it may be for other circumstances, is teach, practice, praise. For teach, practice, praise, that's like there are some circumstances where we can notice that they need some help building up a skill. And so we want to teach them that skill we want to build. Then we want to practice that skill. And then we want to praise when we see them using that skill. So let me back it up to the story with Caleb and the key questions. So I told you I would give you the way to ask the right questions. So the not effective question I was asking him when he was clawing at me and not being willing to let go of me and not being willing to participate in the swim class was, why are you doing this? Why can't you be different? Why is this so hard for you? Switch over to more effective questions. These two key questions I find help so many different situations and help me know what I want to teach and practice and praise. The first thing is, what is the lagging skill that's a part of this? So if I was parent coaching with another family today who has a 4-year-old who's been really having a hard time at preschool and having some emotion challenges. And I said, well, what have we been doing to build the skill of being able to handle when she gets corrected? Well, we've just been giving consequences. Okay, so that might be the lagging skill, is being able to accept correction when she's kind of flooded with embarrassment. Sometimes the lagging skill is being able to be flexible when plans change. Sometimes the lagging skill is being able to problem solve how to fix, sibling issue or a friend issue. If we can start seeing it as, what's the lagging skill, not just why the heck are you doing this and why can't you just have it together? We can be teacher instead of dictator. Like one client, Emily, said, I love that. She's a mom of 4. And she was like, this helps me when I look for what's the lagging skill. What is it, the muscle they need to build? Then I can be teacher. I can be in that role as mom instead of dictator. Like, why are you not just doing what I say? Oh, there's a muscle you don't have yet. And let me think about how I most want to help you grow that muscle. The second key question you can ask is, what is the way that they're being a scientist? So sometimes they're lagging a skill and we want to build up that skill. Sometimes the behavior of them not cooperating is them testing whether we mean what we say, whether they're going to get what they want. So in the moment with Caleb, it was a little bit of both. He was lagging the skill of how to manage that new situation, how to manage being flustered and frustrated in the swim class that he'd never done before, and having a separation from me. And I think he was kind of testing if his screaming was going to keep me around. And boy, was he a great scientist. He learned when he screamed and screamed, I did stay in the pool with him for all 5 days. I felt trapped, but I was the one that wasn't making a definitive line to walk away, be clear about that, have agreed upon it in advance, have when-thens connected to it. So when I promised you yesterday that the 2 key questions I shifted into really changed things for Caleb, they were the key questions that also relate to this recipe I'm giving you. That when I was able to ask, what's the lagging skill and how do I want to teach that skill? That gave me the tools for teach, practice, praise. So if it's like a 2-year-old or 1.5-year-old who keeps hitting their bottle off of the edge of their food tray, it's like they don't have a way maybe to tell me they're all done, and they're experimenting with that. So then let me put it back on. Let me take your little hands and do the all done signal. I can teach it. Let's practice it. And then I'll go, yay, isn't that awesome? With the technology, I can say, okay, this is our agreement. Let's kind of role play this, because let's see what that feels like. Okay, I'm telling you it's 1 minute left. I am literally closing the iPad, looking in my eyes. Okay, what are you going to do instead? Awesome. Like, we can practice it. We can teach it. We can practice role playing it, and then praise. Isn't that going to be so much better? Then you get your tech time tomorrow and it's awesome. And that's what I did with Caleb. We did a little bit of teaching him the skills to be able to manage the pool situation. We did like a separation helper, kissing him on the hand, and you can keep that with you the whole time that you're in swim class. And then I also was clear on the boundary. I am going to leave. and you are going to be here with the teacher. If you're not comfortable, you can sit on the edge, but mommy is leaving. When I had that combination, I asked the right questions. I had said to myself, what skills is he lagging? Okay, that's going to lead me to what I might want to teach him, what I might want to practice, what I might want to praise. And what ways is he being a scientist and just testing out how he's going to get what he wants? Then I was able to make an agreement in advance, tie a when then to it. And guess what, you guys? I signed up for a second round of the swim class and I was prepared. I was ready to go with this new plan. And I walked away. Of course, he was screaming. I'm leaving him in the hands of this like 19-year-old. I'm thinking, oh gosh, please let this not just be so horrible. And he cried for 30 seconds. And this is what I hear parents saying so often. They're like, oh my gosh, I was spinning my wheels. We have spent months or maybe years in these cycles of suffering. And when I ask the right questions, when I have a plan that's really effective, it totally worked. And I felt like super mom. I felt so confident. I was able to stay calm. And that's totally how I felt in that moment. I got to sneak around the side and kind of watch as he was enjoying swim class. And I was able to kind of just like play on my phone and look at Facebook a little bit. Like everyone wins when we have a good plan that works well. So friends, that's my homework assignment. My action step for you tonight is I want you to think about trying out either make an agreement in advance and tie a when then to it, or teach, practice, praise around some lagging skill. If you'd like some more guidance on what might be the lagging skill, how do I define that? Message me and I'll send you a great handout I have on that. Just let me know you want the lagging skill list. And then let me give you 2 more key examples that you can follow. So I said that I promised that I would give you a tool for bedtime and for getting out the door. So my favorite strategy that involves a combination of the make agreement in advance and building the skill for bedtime is something I call 4 touches. The 4 touches is that I'm going to make an agreement in advance, honey. I am not going to sit next to you while you are late, so until you fall asleep at 9:30 at night. Like Rachel, if you've seen her interview with me about how her life has changed in just the last month, that she said, I was training them to really scream and whine and ask for thing upon thing. And I was in their bedroom till 9:30 or 10 on a regular basis with this really young kids. And she did this 4 touches instead. So it's setting up, I'm going to come check on you 4 times, rub your back 1 more time, and then leave. I'm only going to be able to come back those 4 times if you stay in bed. If you get out of bed, then you lose one of the 4 times. And you make it so you leave after 1 minute, and then you leave for 3 minutes. You come back after 3 minutes, come back after 5 minutes, come back after 10 minutes. So you're making longer and longer increments. And if there are things that they've been afraid of the dark or needing water or potty, like solve all those problems in advance, teach it, practice it, praise it. Let's put a froggy potty next to the bed. Let's have like a quarter fill like water cup next to your bedside on your bedside table. Let's have a nightlight. Let's put mom's shirt on a teddy bear so you can snuggle and smell me like snuggled into that teddy bear. Let's solve the problem. Let's teach what will make it go better. We can role play and practice. And then in the moment, I'm going to follow through on those steps and have a when then tied to it. Like when you stay in bed for all 4 of your checks, then you get your morning cartoon. When you don't, then you don't. And then you follow through, you'll be more calm and confident because you did your thinking in the right time, in the more effective way. You gave the child power in the right time, in the right way. You made an agreement. You gave them an opportunity to really make a choice that will work in a great way for them and for you. In the out the door setting, I like to say you can do a combination of anything that gets touched after I've said shoes on, coat on, out the door is going to go away for a week. So if you're getting distracted, starting to play with toys after I've said those keywords, we're not going to be able to, well, those things will go away. Or I've known some other parents that make an agreement in advance of a when we've gotten all of our morning jobs done quick and snappy, then you can have some time to watch one more little show. Or then you can choose a toy from this little basket right next to our shoes, so it's not an additional hassle, and bring that in the car ride with you. When you have gotten everything done quick and snappy, we'll be able to do that. And then I'm not nagging, repeating when they are dilly-dallying. I can just remind them, hey, remember, when everything's done quick and snappy, we get to bring that toy. When we don't, no toy. So how are you feeling about this? Are you feeling like I can do this? If you are, put those words out there. I want to hear you. Like, I think I can do this. I can do, set an agreement in advance, tie a when then. I haven't been doing that. Okay, yes, I'm going to do that. Or I can do this. I can do teach, practice, praise. I can think about what are the things that I really want to grow of those skills, instead of like, why are you this way? Oh, what are you struggling with, and how do I want to build that in you? Awesome. Lots of people saying, I'm ready to do this. I can do this. I super believe in you. And for any of those doubters who are like, but what if my kid is just like, no matter all the agreements in advance, they want to keep pushing, they want to keep doing that thing that we agreed we wouldn't do. Don't miss tomorrow, because that's where we're going to talk about the best question to ask to end those daily battles, where you feel like you are in a tug of war, where you feel like they are not hearing you, that no matter their emotion and you're trying to calm them down, like you feel like you are always in this push pull. Tomorrow is going to be the best question to ask to end those daily battles. All right, friends.